Hey there, car enthusiasts! Buckle up because today we're diving into the top picks for 2024, the best cars for every budget. Imagine this: you, cruising down the highway, wind in your hair, snacks in the passenger seat, completely unaware that you missed your exit 5 miles back. Don't worry, that's what GPS is for, and luckily all these cars have them. Whether you're ballin' on a budget or ready to splurge like you just won the lottery, even though you never actually bought a ticket, hypothetically, we've got something for everyone. From reliable runarounds to head-turning supercars, we're covering it all, folks. So, buckle those seatbelts, adjust your rearview mirrors, and get ready for a hilarious ride as we break down the best cars of 2024. Let's hit the gas. And trust me, I know cars. Not because I'm some kind of car expert, but because I spend an awful lot of time stuck in Los Angeles traffic. It's enough to make you an expert in car horns and questionable driving decisions, let me tell you. But enough about that. Let's talk about the cars you should actually be driving, not the ones honking at me on the 405. First up, we've got the automotive equivalent of that friend who's always there for you. The one who'd pick you up at 3 a.m. after a questionable karaoke night. The Toyota Corolla. This car is the definition of reliable. It's been around for ages, and like a good pair of slippers, it just gets more comfortable with time. And let's be honest, practicality is sexy, right? The Corolla is like the Ryan Reynolds of cars. Dependable, good-looking, and probably whispers encouraging things to you while you parallel park. Speaking of parallel parking, have you ever noticed how small cars seem to multiply in cities? It's like they reproduce when you're not looking. But hey, at least with a Corolla, you'll be one of the cool kids in the compact carpool lane. Plus, this little beauty sips gas like a frugal ant at an open bar. You'll be saving so much money on fuel that you might even be tempted to buy those questionable gas station snacks. Don't do it. Next up, we're stepping up our game with the Honda Accord, the car that's basically the Goldilocks of the automotive world. It's not too big, not too small, it's just right. Like a perfectly poured bowl of porridge, this car hits the sweet spot in terms of price, features, and performance. It's for the person who wants it all but doesn't want to shout about it from a mountaintop. You know, the type who orders a regular coffee but secretly enjoys those little flavor shots. The Accord is like that reliable friend who always brings a great dish to the potluck but doesn't brag about it. They just stand there modestly, accepting compliments while secretly knowing they knocked it out of the park. And speaking of knocking it out of the park, the Accord's performance is nothing to sneeze at either. It's got enough pep in its step to get you where you need to go without making you feel like you're driving your grandma's car. Well, unless your grandma was secretly a getaway driver. Alright folks, buckle up because we're about to enter the electric avenue. And no, I'm not talking about that 80s synth pop band. We're diving into the world of electric vehicles, and at the forefront of this revolution is none other than the Tesla Model 3. We're talking about the Tesla Model 3, the car that's supposed to make you feel like you're driving the future. With its sleek design and cutting-edge technology, it's like stepping into a sci-fi movie every time you get behind the wheel. And let's be honest, with gas prices these days, the future better be electric or we're all going back to riding donkeys. The Model 3 offers a solution to the ever-increasing fuel cost, making it a practical choice for the modern driver. Now I know what you're thinking. James, you and electric cars? Isn't that like seeing Simon Cowell at a rave? But hear me out, this ain't your Nan's milk float. This car is turning heads and changing minds. But hear me out, this ain't your Nan's milk float. This is a car that combines style, performance, and sustainability in a way that no other vehicle has managed to do before. This thing can go from 0 to 60 faster than you can say Elon Musk. It's got the kind of acceleration that makes you feel like you're on a roller coaster, but without the nausea. Speaking of Elon, you gotta love that fella, right? He's a visionary, a risk taker, and let's not forget a bit of a mad scientist. Sending rockets into space, tweeting about his dog, who's also named Elon, probably. What a legend. Sending rockets into space, tweeting about his dog, who's also named Elon, probably. What a legend. But back to the car, the Model 3. It's not just quick, it's also got more gadgets than a Bond car. But back to the car, the Model 3. It's not just quick, it's also got more gadgets than a Bond car. From its giant touchscreen to its autopilot mode, it's basically a spaceship on wheels. It's not just quick, it's also got more gadgets than a Bond car. Giant touchscreen autopilot mode, it's basically a spaceship on wheels. The interface is so intuitive it feels like the car is reading your mind. Giant touchscreen, autopilot mode, it's basically a spaceship on wheels. Just imagine, you could be stuck in traffic, hands-free, catching up on your favorite episodes of Carpool Karaoke. The autopilot feature is a game changer, making long drives less of a chore and more of an adventure. Just imagine, you could be stuck in traffic, hands-free, catching up on your favorite episodes of Carpool Karaoke. Although on second thought, maybe not. Don't want to give Elon any more ideas, but seriously, the convenience and safety features are top-notch. Although, on second thought, maybe not. Don't want to give Elon any more ideas. So, if you're looking for a car that's both eco-friendly and stylish, the Tesla Model 3 is worth a look. Don't want to give Elon any more ideas. So, if you're looking for a car that's both eco-friendly and stylish, the Tesla Model 3 is worth a look. It's a car that makes a statement, not just about who you are, but about where you think the world is heading. So, if you're looking for a car that's both eco-friendly and stylish, the Tesla Model 3 is worth a look. Just be prepared to answer a lot of questions about what it's like to charge your car. People are curious, and for good reason. Just be prepared to answer a lot of questions about what it's like to charge your car. Do you just plug it into a wall socket? Can you charge it with a potato? Trust me, you'll get used to it, eventually. Do you just plug it into a wall socket? Can you charge it with a potato? These are the kinds of questions you'll get. And while they might seem silly, they highlight the curiosity and excitement surrounding electric vehicles. Can you charge it with a potato? Trust me, you'll get used to it, eventually. The learning curve is part of the fun, and before you know it, you'll be the one answering those questions with a confident smile. Trust me, you'll get used to it, eventually. And once you do, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. The Tesla Model 3 isn't just a car, it's a lifestyle choice, a step towards a more sustainable future and a whole lot of fun to drive. Now let's talk about this whole autopilot thing, shall we? It's a topic that's been buzzing around for quite some time now, and for good reason, because it's both fascinating and slightly terrifying, like a spider that can do your taxes. The technology behind it is nothing short of revolutionary. Yet it brings with it a set of concerns that can't be ignored. On the one hand, imagine cruising down the highway, sipping your coffee, while the car basically drives itself. It's the dream, right? The convenience is unparalleled. You can catch up on emails, have a snack, or simply enjoy the scenery without the stress of constant vigilance. No more road rage, no more getting stuck behind someone going 20 and a 30. The autopilot can handle these situations with ease, making your drive smoother and more enjoyable. But then, there's that little voice in the back of your head whispering, what if the car decides to take a detour? To say the moon? It's a funny thought, but it highlights a real concern about the reliability and safety of these systems. Or what if it mistakes a billboard for a tunnel? The technology is advanced, but it's not infallible. There are still scenarios where human intervention is crucial. Look, I'm not saying these things are going to happen, but it's always good to be prepared. Having a backup plan is never a bad idea. Maybe keep a spare steering wheel in the back, just in case. It sounds absurd, but it gives you peace of mind knowing you're ready for anything. All jokes aside, the autopilot feature in the Model 3 is pretty darn impressive. The level of sophistication in its design and functionality is a testament to how far we've come in automotive technology. It can change lanes, maintain a safe distance from other cars, even park itself. These features are not just convenient. They enhance safety by reducing human error. It's like having your own personal chauffeur, except this one doesn't judge your taste in music. You can listen to your guilty pleasure songs without any side-eye, and you can be sure it won't be spilling your Earl Grey all over the upholstery. The interior stays pristine no matter how bumpy the ride. Just remember, even with autopilot, you still need to pay attention to the road. This isn't Wall-E, folks. The technology is there to assist, not to replace you entirely. You can't just kick back and watch a movie while the car does its thing. It's tempting, but it's not safe. Well, you probably could, but I wouldn't recommend it. The risk is too high and the consequences could be severe, especially if you're driving through a car wash. The autopilot might handle the road well, but it's not designed for every situation. Always stay alert and be ready to take control when necessary. So, how much is all this futuristic electric goodness going to set you back? Well, let's dive into the details. Well, the Tesla Model 3 isn't exactly what you'd call cheap. The base model starts at a price that might make you do a double take. But then again, neither is a first-class ticket to space, and we all know how much Elon loves those. It's an investment not just in a car, but in a vision of the future. But here's the thing. When you factor in the savings on gas, the lower maintenance costs, and the sheer coolness factor, it starts to look a bit more reasonable. Traditional cars require regular oil changes, transmission repairs, and other costly maintenance. Electric cars, on the other hand, have fewer moving parts, which means fewer things that can go wrong. Plus, you'll be saving the planet, one electric mile at a time. Imagine driving through a lush green forest, knowing that your car isn't contributing to the pollution that threatens such beautiful landscapes. It's a small step, but every little bit helps in the fight against climate change. You can't put a price on that, can you? Well, actually Tesla can, and they have. The price tag might seem steep, but consider the long-term benefits. Reduced fuel costs, potential tax incentives, and the satisfaction of driving a cutting-edge vehicle. But look, if you're tired of the same old gas guzzlers, and you're ready to embrace the electric revolution, the Tesla Model 3 is a solid choice. It's not just about the car, it's about being part of a movement towards a more sustainable future. It's sleek, it's stylish, and it's packed with enough tech to make your head spin. From the minimalist interior to the advanced autopilot features, it's like driving a car straight out of a sci-fi movie. Just maybe don't try to explain how the autopilot works to your grandparents. The technology is impressive, but it can be a bit overwhelming for those not used to it. Trust me, it's a recipe for a very long, very confusing afternoon. The manual alone could be a bedtime story for tech enthusiasts. So there you have it, the Tesla Model 3, the car for the modern age. It's not just a mode of transportation, it's a statement about where you see the future heading. Just remember, if you see me on the road in one, give me a wide berth. The learning curve for driving an electric car can be steep, especially with features like regenerative braking. I'm still getting used to this whole regenerative braking thing. It's a different experience, but one that promises a smoother, more efficient drive once you get the hang of it. Alright, let's be honest, we all have that one friend, you know the type, thinks they're a little bit fancy, a little bit above it all. Yeah, that's the BMW 5 Series owner. They'll tell you it's about the driving experience, the precision German engineering. But we all know they just love that feeling of superiority when they pull up next to a Corolla at a stoplight. Don't get me wrong, the 5 Series is a nice car. It's sleek, it's powerful, it practically screams. I have a very important meeting that I'm probably already late for. But you've got to wonder, with all those extra horses under the hood, are they compensating for something? Just kidding. Maybe. But hey, if you've got the cash to splash on a car that makes you feel like you're starring in your own personal action movie, who am I to judge? I'd probably be rocking the Bluetooth, blasting Spandau Ballet, pretending I'm in a high-speed chase through the Swiss Alps. Just don't tell anyone I still have a carpool karaoke playlist, yeah? Now let's talk about the interior, because that's where the 5 Series really tries to justify its price tag. It's like stepping into a luxury hotel room on wheels. Leather seats? Check. More gadgets than a spaceship? Check. Enough cup holders to satisfy even the thirstiest caffeine addict? Double check. But let's be real, you're not buying this car for its practicality. You're buying it for the bragging rights. For those moments when you can casually toss the keys to the valet and pretend you don't even care. And hey, if you can swing it, why not treat yourself? Life's too short to drive boring cars, right? Just promise me you won't become one of those people who judge others based on their vehicles. We're all just trying to get from point A to point B. Some of us just prefer to do it with a little more style and a lot more debt. Okay, time to address the elephant in the room, the price. Yeah, the BMW 5 Series is gonna set you back a few, or several pretty pennies. But just think of it as an investment in your image, in your social standing, in your ability to attract a partner who appreciates the finer things in life. Or, you could just buy a used Honda Civic and invest the difference in a really nice vacation. Your call. But hey, if you're going to splurge on a car, at least make it one that turns heads. And who knows, maybe one day I'll be lucky enough to snag a ride in one. I promise I'll bring the snacks, and I'll even let you pick the music. Just no Nickelback, alright? We have a reputation to uphold. Well folks, we've arrived at the top of the automotive food chain, the automotive equivalent of winning the lottery, the Lamborghini Aventador. This, my friends, is not just a car, it's a statement. It's a rolling testament to excess, a symphony of horsepower, Well, you get the picture. We're talking about a car that can go from 0 to 60 faster than you can say midlife crisis. A car that costs more than some houses. A car that's basically begging to be pulled over by every police officer within a 5-mile radius. But hey, who cares about practicality when you can have doors that open like a spaceship and an exhaust note that sounds like a dinosaur having an existential crisis? If you're lucky enough to own one of these bad boys, you're either a rock star, a CEO, or you've got a really good accountant. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know anything about the technical specs of this beast. All I know is that it's got a V12 engine that produces more horsepower than a small country, and that it can hit a top speed that would make a fighter pilot break into a sweat. But let's be honest, if you're buying a Lamborghini, you're not doing it for the fuel economy or the cargo space. You're buying it for the sheer, unadulterated thrill of it all. It's about the feeling of the wind in your hair, assuming you haven't lost it all from the G-force, the roar of the engine echoing in your ears, and the knowledge that you're driving a car that most people can only dream of. It's basically the automotive equivalent of dating a supermodel. Sure, it might be impractical and a little high maintenance, but who cares when you're living the dream? So, how much does this Italian stallion cost, you ask? Well, if you have to ask, you probably can't afford it. But for those of you keeping score at home, we're talking about a starting price that could buy you a small island, or a fleet of reasonably priced family sedans. But hey, who needs financial security when you can have a car that makes you feel like a superhero every time you get behind the wheel? It's the ultimate toy for the big kid who never wants to grow up. Just promise me that if you ever find yourself behind the wheel of one of these beauties, you'll at least give me a ride. I'll even let you pick the music. Just no Nickelback, all right? We've talked about this. And there you have it, folks. The top picks for 2024, no matter your budget. Whether you're cruising in a Corolla or tearing up the track in a Lambo, remember it's not just about the car you drive, but the journey you take. Stay safe and keep those engines running. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell icon for more awesome content. See you in the next video.